Parents of Reddit, what's something that your kid has done that you pretended to be angry about but secretly impressed or amused you? I live with my dad and my 9-year-old daughter. I sometimes go to the gym at night and tell my daughter to brush her teeth while I'm gone. When I get back she shows me a video on our tablet of her brushing her teeth as proof. A few days ago I realized that her hairstyle was slightly different in the video, and I figured out that she had simply pre-recorded herself brushing her teeth in several different outfits. While I was fairly impressed at this, I kept a straight face and explained to her that when I was a kid, Grandpa would beat me savagely with a set of jumper cables whenever I didn't brush my teeth. Since then she's been brushing several times a day on her own. My 16-year-old son and his buddies decided to call their dodgeball team Snipe so that they could accidentally stand in front of the whole school with their lettered t-shirts spelling out Venus. Such a proud mom I was. My 9-year-old son called me into his room because he had a monster in his closet. I tell him he's too old for that kind of thing and to go back to sleep. He pleads with me to check. I open the door and turn on the light. Staring back at me is some scruffy looking thing with angry eyes and I scream. It was a mirror. I'm trying to see if I'm having a heart attack and he's laughing his troll ass off. I'm proud of his cleverness, but considered if he were too old to be left on someone's doorstep. Maybe he's not a troll, he's just struggling with existential problems. Maybe we really are monsters. One night my wife and I were having a discussion with our 10-year-old daughter about the importance of homework, education and her future. The subject came up because she was busted lying about her grades. I asked, "Don't you want to grow up and be successful like me?" Her response was, "Mom doesn't do anything and she's got it pretty good." What did your wife say? She was speechless and I defended as best I could without cracking a smile. Kindergarten teacher wanted a word with us because our son had called a wasp a dirty ducker. Turns out she wasn't as impressed with his proper usage as I was. In his defense, wasps are dirty duckers. My little 5-year-old niece looked us dead in the eye and without missing a beat and very little emotion, she told us that Simba, her cat, was a goddamn terrorist, and when we asked why, cause he's shutting all over the place. It was funny as hell. Clearly her dad isn't impressed with the new cat. My daughter got in trouble in kindergarten for selling pencils to other kids. She was charging kids a quarter, the school charged 50 cents. I was pretty impressed. That's because her private enterprise threatened the state's monopoly on those items, as well as their major profit source. It should come as a surprise to nobody that crony capitalists will use their legislative influence to destroy their competition. I got detention and almost suspended in the 6th grade for selling jawbreakers to the other kids. I only had my racket ruined because some 8th grader told on me for not giving him any free candy and was unable to take it by force. The school tried to take my jawbreakers and my money, but thankfully my parents told the school they would take the stuff they confiscated and just gave it to me. Those duckers almost made off with my $40 bucks though. Damn, I hated my middle school administration. My 10-year-old son swears periodically, but only in very appropriate ways. For example, we were reading the Two Towers from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We just finished the chapter on the fall of Isengard and closed the book for the night when he decided to comment, "Wow, Saruman is an asshole. I mean, you're not wrong, but..." My response exactly when my son swears. First time he did it, he was 2 years old. We were eating lunch when a piece of chicken fell off of his fork and he said damn it. So I explained to him that that was an inappropriate word for him to use at his age, but an impressive use of the word nevertheless. I've become much more careful about swearing in front of him since, especially when driving. He's 3 now, and a few weeks ago we're on the road behind a minivan that keeps slowing down and speeding up when he asks me, "Daddy, can I say a bad word?" I told him, "Well, you shouldn't, but now I'm interested in what you have to say," and he leans his head over to see around the seat, points at the van ahead of us and says, "That guy's an asshole." My 6-year-old daughter was playing Mario Kart on the Wii U and got hit with a red shell. In the intense heat of the race she says, "Are you bastard?" I don't say anything yet, just look up at her surprised by her nonchalance and the way she just had that word loaded and ready to fire. She glances at me, doesn't even stop racing, and coolly explains, "Not you, Boza." I don't think I even corrected it. My son was 2 years old when he got his first pair of eyeglasses. At first he resisted wearing them until he realized he could see properly for the first time in his life. A few days into wearing his glasses, I brought home a 5-pound bag of individually wrapped chocolates that I was planning on taking to the office in a few days. He had gone upstairs to his toy room and he was being way too quiet for too long. I went up there and he was surrounded by wrappers covered in chocolate. Half the bag was gone. And he was so proud of himself. Mommy, I not need help to open them, so I not had to ask. It was the first time he had been able to see where to pull to open the wrappers. I was so happy that he could finally see that I couldn't be angry. I had to tell him that he still needed to ask permission to take the candy, even if he didn't need help opening it anymore. The punishment was his belly. Kid's lactose intolerant. Last night while at a restaurant, she loudly sang a song she made up about her vagina. I'm not sure of all the words, but it was based off of the Do You Want to Build a Snowman song from Frozen. Do you wanna see my vagina? Did you duet with her? No. Please don't expose your vagina. When my daughter learned cursive in 2nd grade, she forged my name on a test paper. I made her write an apology to the teacher. The kick was she got 100 on the test. I had a good laugh. I have twins. The boy's a perfectly normal kid. The girl is developmentally delayed due to autism. She doesn't really know how to communicate. For example, if he wakes up first, he just yells at us to let him out of their room. If she wakes up first, she just sits quietly until someone comes in. Well, on their 3rd birthday, they got a lot of sweet toys. The toys were in the living room, so that it wasn't a distraction at bedtime. The following morning, she woke up and wanted to play with her new dolls. But she didn't know how to get our attention to open the door. But she knows her brother can get the door open. So she grabs a Nerf hammer, Thor's from the Avengers. She then just starts beating her brother in the head with it until his cries sent me running into the room. As soon as I open the door, she drops the hammer and runs past me, laughing, straight to her new toys. Sociopathic maybe, but damn clever. In 6th grade, my daughter was friends with a boy who had a lot of feminine characteristics. My daughter initially got to know him because the rule in their school was that they had to remain at the table they sat at on the first day. This boy had no friends and had been sitting at the end of their table. Gradually, the girls got to know him and he was taken into their group. While many were accepting of him wearing pink clothes and nail polish, some were not. One day, I got a call from the disciplinary superintendent at the school. He said, Mrs. Potter toys are fruit. I want to preface what I'm going to say by telling you that I'm obligated to call about any situation where physical violence is involved. My heart sank, but that I'm by no means encouraging you to punish your daughter. He went on to tell me that one of the boys known for bullying this particular young man had pushed him down a small flight of stairs at the school. My daughter was so angry that she ran up to the bully and kicked him as hard as she could in the shin. She did have to apologize to the boy she kicked. We did talk about never lashing out physically, no matter how angry we were. But I was so proud of her for defending her friend. I went to Walmart with my boys and some guy nearly backed over us in the parking lot. It was bad. Stepson was looking elsewhere, and my hands were full with the baby, so I basically smashed him in the chest with the diaper bag to stop his forward movement. As he's recovering his balance and realizing what happened, the guy is just staring at us like we materialized out of nowhere, and Stepson plants his feet and flips him the double bird. Completely calm, confident, full eye contact, and he held it up there for a good 3 seconds. The kiddo is normally kind of shy with adults. It was like seeing a glimpse of the man he is going to become. The youngest stands his ground. If the 2 oldest are being jerks to the youngest, he doesn't suffer that shot and gets immediate justice. I have to pretend to scold and say no hitting, all the while being proud that my baby boy is independent and can hold his own. Oh, and he threw some eggs on the floor the other day, trying to get them to bounce like a ball. That was funny. My daughter loves to compliment people. About a month ago we were in the mall with my other kids. I was in line getting food for everyone when my daughter ran up to me and yelled, "Daddy, I love your Venus." It was both horrifying and hilarious, though I'm surprised I didn't get arrested. While holding my then 3-year-old daughter at the checkout at the grocery store, she poked me in the boob with her finger and cheerfully said, "You have great boobas, mama." Thanks kiddo. When my daughter was 6, a boy in school was bullying her. He was confronting her one day, in front of his buddies, and said, "I bet you don't have the nerve to kick me in the nuts." She did. We got a call from the school. My ex and I had to stifle laughter while making to the principal. We exploded once we were outside, then had to rein it in once we met up with our daughter. Heh. The kid who was bullying her left her alone after that. I blocked YouTube on the iPad. I was a little worried my kid might see some stuff on YouTube not intended for a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old found a workaround by starting up Angry Birds, clicking on the Angry Birds cartoons, then browsing to his favorite YouTuber using the voice search function. I have to say, that's brighter than most adults I've seen. He dealt with bypassing password protection and his own inability to write using the speech function. That's amazing.